Welcome. This video is on adding and subtracting decimals. First, our procedure. The procedure for adding and subtracting with decimals. Number 1, write the problem vertically, aligning the decimal points. Add zeros if necessary. Number 2, perform the operation, which is addition or subtraction. Number 3, place the decimal point in the sum or difference. That means the answer. Sum is the answer to an addition problem. Difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. Place the decimal point in the sum or difference so that it is vertically aligned with the decimal points above. So just in short, align the decimal points. Make sure they line up vertically. Okay, so here's our first problem. 17.672 plus 5.65. Okay, so step 1, write vertically, aligning the decimal points. Okay, so let's write this problem vertically. Make sure that the decimal points line up. Notice that I put a 0 after the 5 on the bottom number, just to have a number there. If you don't have a number, it's not crucial, but it's a good idea to just put a 0 there for any missing numbers. And now steps 2 and 3, we're going to add and then place a decimal point so it's vertically aligned. So let's start adding column by column, just like we did before. 2 plus 0 is 2. 7 plus 5 is 12, so carry the 1. Bring down the 2. 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Keep going. 7 plus 5 is 12, plus 1 again is 13. And 1 plus 1 is 2. And then put a decimal point right between the two threes. Bring the decimal point straight down. And that's your answer. Okay, maybe you need to write down the notes, so pause the video. Write down your notes if you need to, and then we'll go on to the next slide. Okay, so here's two problems, an addition problem and a subtraction problem. The first one is 15. Now there's no decimal point written, so it's always assumed that the decimal point is at the end of the number. So it's not 0.15, it's 15.0. We might add 2 zeros because the second number has 2 numbers to the right of the decimal point. Okay, so let's get started. Number 1, write it vertically. And again, align the decimal points. And the decimal point for the 15 is after the 5. I put 2 zeros there just because the bottom number has 2 numbers after the decimal point. Okay, go ahead and add the numbers and then put down your decimal point. So there's no carrying over in this problem, so the answer is just 18.75. Let's do the second one. This one's a subtraction problem. 5.7 minus 3.87. Again, line up the decimal points. If you want to work on it, pause the video and then come back to us when you're ready to see this worked out answer. Okay, so above the 7, we put a 0 there. Now we can't take away 7 from 0, so that means what? Yeah, that's right, we got to borrow. So borrow from the 7 on the top number. That becomes a 6. Put a 1 in front of the 0, so now that's a 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. Again, now we have to subtract 8 from 6. Can't do it, so we've got to borrow from the 5. Becomes a 4, put a 1 in front of the 6. 16 minus 8 is 8. And then 4 minus 3, we could do that one, that's 1. And then bring the decimal straight down. So 1.83. Okay, let's do a couple more. Subtract 2.375 from 4. So that second number always goes first. Now, there's no decimal point after the 4. That decimal is actually a period for the sentence. But anyways, if it's 4, it's always going to be 4 point, and then we put 3 zeros after it because the 2.375, that has 3 numbers after the decimal point. So therefore the 4 will need 3 zeros after the 4. Okay, now we could start subtracting. We got to go all the way to the 4, and that makes it a 3. And the zeros after it become 9s, and then a 1 in front of the last 0 to make that a 10. I'll do that one more time. Let's go back to that. See, it's gone. So we can't go to the first 0 that's above the 7, or the second 0 that's above the 3. We got to go all the way to the 4. Think of it as 400. Borrow a 1 from the 4. Oops, sorry about that. It becomes a 3, 9, 9, and then a 1 in front of the 0. So think of it as 400. Take away 1 would be 399. Alright, now we can subtract. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 7, 2. 9 minus 3 is 6. 3 minus 2 is 1. Bring down your decimal point. So 1.625. Okay, this is our last problem. A comparison shopper bought 5 items at store A for a total of $24.02. The shopper then bought the same 5 items at store B for a total of $19.45. How much more did the 5 items cost at store A? So sometimes it's a good idea to pause the video, read it, take your time, think about what you're going to do, and then come back to us when you're ready to see the workout answer. Okay, so here's the key word. How much more? What does how much more indicate? Right, it indicates subtraction. How much more? How much more money does someone make? How much older is one child from another? Let's say you have 2 children, and somebody says, "How much older is your first child?" Well, you might say, "He's 3 years older." Doesn't mean he's 3. It means he's 3 years older than the second child. So that's a subtraction problem. So we're going to subtract 1945 from 2402. We're going to do some borrowing here, so you might want to, again, pause and work it out if you haven't already done so. Okay, so 5 from 2, we can't do it, but the number to the left of 2 is a 0, so we've got to go all the way to the 4, subtract 1 from 4. That becomes a 3, and then the 0 after it becomes a 9, and then we can put a 1 in front of the 2. Think of it as like borrowing 1 from 40. Borrowing 1 from 40 gives you 39, and then you put a 1 in front of the 2. So now we can subtract 12 minus 5 is 7. 9 minus 4 is 5. 3 minus 9, now we've got to borrow again, right? Borrow from the 2, make it a 1, and then put a 1 in front of that 3. 13 minus 9 is 4. And then 1 minus 1 is 0, so we don't have to write down the 0. Bring your decimal point down. So that's your answer, $4.57. So this shopper saved $4.57 by going to store B. Okay, that's the end of this video. I'll see you here for the next video.